And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. Matt, it's our first show of 2020. How you feeling about that?
Pretty good. It was a lot sooner than I thought because I
I know.
literally minutes before you actually messaged me this morning, I was like, "Have we got a show this morning, or is that next week?"
I know, we took 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year. Felt way longer, but boy, was it nice to actually sit back and recharge my batteries for a minute.
It really was. It gave me a lot of time to catch up on stuff I haven't done yet. Catch up on
Same.
video games I haven't played and TV shows I haven't watched, movies I
I
haven't seen.
watched I watched so many movies while we were on break. What did I see? I saw Uncut Gems.
Oh,
I
that's a
saw
good.
Frozen. Really good. I saw Uncut Gems. I saw Frozen 2. Eh. I saw Knives Out. That was great.
Yeah. Did you see
I saw.
Parasite?
I did not. I want to though. Is
Oh,
it
you
still
got.
in theaters? I know it's again. You got to remember, I live in like shitty podunk
Yeah.
Canadian town, and that's like a international movie. I'd probably have to go to the city if I wanted to see that.
That's what I
Yeah,
had to do.
I saw Knives Out. I saw Ready or Not. Yeah, I saw so many movies, and I feel glad that I watched so many movies.
Yeah, that was this end. As I said when I made my best of 2019 list, the back end of this year was so backloaded with like great content.
I watched the first episode of The Witcher and then got stuck up, but I enjoyed the first episode of The Witcher.
Yeah, yeah. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was brilliant, despite like me thinking like when it was announced and when it was being filmed, it didn't look too good, but it looks brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad that it actually exceeded expectations. You don't hear that
Hmm.
very often, something that exceeds expectations. Also, someone saying we got a Prime sub, in which case, hey, thank you for reminding us, McKellis.
Yes, thank you.
Again, I haven't finished The Witcher yet, but I have just, everywhere I go, hearing the song, throw a coin to your Witcher, oh Valley of Plenty, oh Valley of Plenty. I'm
Yes.
like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to see the show now because this is the best part right here.
Yeah, that will get stuck in your head, as well as I'm sure people who aren't familiar with the games probably got confused a little bit with the season because, much like Westworld, it jumps all over the place in terms of
Yeah.
timelines. There's multiple timelines happening at the same time and all that stuff. But it all by the last episode, it all makes sense.
That's good. I definitely appreciate that. Henry Cavill, man, what a great actor he is. Man, that guy should play Superman someday. Actually, with his gruff exterior, it feels like he probably could have actually made a good Batman in an alternate reality,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
What else have I been playing? Oh, I was gifted a copy of Borderlands 3 for Christmas, and I'd been putting off playing it forever because the whole gearbox thing was just so uncomfortable. It's fine. It's the same looter shooter action, but oh boy, has the script taken a massive hit now that Anthony Birch isn't writing it.
Yeah, I just didn't bother with it mainly because I never finished Borderlands 2 either. But yeah,
Um,
it just, yeah, it never really seemed like no one seemed to talk about that after it came out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's probably not very good.
came and went. The worst thing about it is like, okay, different writers, maybe it could totally like, chart a new course. No, we're gonna keep trying to write it like Anthony Birch is writing it, but without him being there. I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, he seems to have lacked his like specific like humor and wit and whatnot that he brought to
Absolutely.
it.
Because he's not forcing it when he does it.
Mm.
That shit's just natural. What else did I do? Yeah, I guess that's it. I ate a lot. I completely fucked off my keto diet for a month. That was fun. I had banana puddings and baked goods and everything else.
Oh, jeez.
How have you been, Matt? Since last we talked, your country seems to be on fire. I believe the weather forecast is apocalyptic.
Yeah, a big part of the country is currently on fire. The smoke cloud is now larger than all of Europe.
And the soot is going up into the sky and creating superstorms. Like
Yeah,
Thor is very upset with Australia.
yeah. The fire is creating its own weather system strong enough to like cause like fire tornadoes.
Amazing.
Yeah,
What did Australia do, Matt? What old Romany woman did they run over? What curse is being delivered upon them right now?
the curse of climate change.
There you go. Again, I know neither of us are watching the Golden Globes because we don't give a shit, but apparently Russell Crowe won an award, couldn't actually take the award because he's actually dealing with relief in Australia right now.
Mhm.
Instead, they read a little message of him like, hey, gotta fix this shit. Hey, climate change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's busy here. I think he had like some of his properties destroyed or something. Because I follow him
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter, and he's been out there like looking at properties and stuff that have been destroyed. And yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Pretty fucked up. Hey, again, I feel like maybe I should do something about this. I feel like I shouldn't be such a slacktivist to bring this up and not do anything. Yo, when we're done, let's research a good charity to help out Australia, and I'll put that in the what is it in the description when we upload this one later, and then next time I'll actually research a thing.
Yeah, I've been like toying with the idea that like I was gonna do like a stream and do like a charity stream, and then all the
I'd
proceeds
kick some money away.
I'll do send to like Red Cross or something. But I'm
That's good.
trying to find the time to do it is the thing.
I wanted to do a literacy one for Christmas, and I think about doing a literacy one for Christmas every year. Then Christmas happens, and I don't have time to do it anymore.
Yep, yep.
The moral of the story is I should just fucking do it at some point and not have to tie it to any particular time. But yeah, if you did do a Red Cross thing for Australia for fire relief and everything, I know I would kick some money your way, and I'm sure everyone else would kick you some money some way too. Let's be real heroes, everyone. With the greatest power of all, money. I mean, why do you think Batman is so good? He's got the money. But yeah, everyone, this is our show. Not a lot has happened in the Christmas New Year window because nothing ever really seems to happen in that time frame.
No, no, nothing ever does.
But you know what? That's not bad because this is an excellent opportunity for Matt and myself to catch up on old business because we do have a fair amount of old business.
We do.
I guess the first thing we can talk about here, just because it's so funny, and I know you and I'll have a good laugh at this because we've been talking about it forever. Hey, where'd my news go? It was here somewhere, and now I can't find it. The X-Men New Mutants trailer.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're getting that trailer tomorrow. Apparently, it's still coming out despite all the odds. It's the little movie that could.
Yeah, and not only that, apparently we're getting the cut that the director Josh Boone wanted as well. So like
That's the most interesting part of the story.
because as we learned, he filmed it and then cut it the way he wanted, and then Simon Kinberg and all those people came in and like cut it to what it sounds like they cut it to make it an R-rated film when that wasn't his intention.
And to also make it link up to whatever hell they were doing with the future of the X-Men movies, which obviously didn't happen because Fox got absorbed into Disney Marvel, which I think is ultimately the best for everyone. But yeah, that's a thing that happened with it. And I guess it's nice that even if it took this long to come out, at least it's this dude's original vision who we're going to get to see. So that's nice, even though, again, doesn't fucking matter, and I'm in no particular rush to see this movie.
No, I'll still see it just out of like general curiosity, but like in the end, is like okay, so it's not gonna tie into like the Marvel Cinematic Universe because I don't think this is gonna be the way Feige wants to introduce mutants.
No,
I mean, they could just do it as like a side plot to that, but still, that's not the way you introduce them in this movie that's just been gestating for what, 3-4 years now.
Something ridiculous like that. Someone in the chat says, I hope New Mutants becomes a documentary. Yeah, I hope so too. I would love to see some behind the scenes of this film.
Yeah. Or you're never going to see the behind the scenes of this film.
No, in fact, they probably burnt them all in the buy-up, in the merger. But also, I may have blocked this out. Is this getting a theatrical release, or are they dumping this on streaming like I thought they would?
As far as I know, it's getting a theatrical release.
That seems perhaps a little dangerous.
Yeah, just a little bit, Depends on like how much did this cost?
I think they shot it dirty and cheap. That's why it was a horror movie, and that's why it was kind of like, we don't know what we're gonna do with it, but we're gonna do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's good. I'll get to it eventually. Right after I get around to seeing Dark Phoenix.
We got to do that for a riff. For a commentary.
At some point we do. Maybe it'll be a double header. I mean, I think the nicest thing is, again, the director gets to have his vision done. I don't imagine this making a lot of money at the box office, but I guess if you starred in the movie, it'll be nice to tell people like, hey, that X-Men movie I was in is finally out now.
Oh, not only that, finally be able to like give people an answer, because I remember seeing interviews with some of the cast and they're like, oh, is that still like coming out? Like, I didn't know that was coming out.
The fact that it's not dead at all is shocking.
Yeah.
And like kind of a miracle in its way. Like I want to be meaner to the movie. I want to dogpile it on it, but I can't because it's like, oh, you're the little train that could movie. You made it.
Yeah, but like as we were saying, like the best thing is that it's the director's vision that's being put to screen, which is really great because it makes me realize that like Disney and all that realized that that was the better movie of the two cuts.
And then it'll probably be more self-contained and not fuck up anything they're doing next, which is what it was always meant to be before they're like, no, put Mr. Sinister in it, put this, that, and the other thing in it because we need to build up to another X-Men franchise that never happens.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. All right, what else do we got here? Oh, I didn't put this one on the list, but I feel like we should probably talk about this anyway because it would be wrong if we didn't talk about it. Batman 85 happened. Batman 86 from Tynan will be coming out today when we upload this one to YouTube. But we finally saw the end of the King era. Long live the King. The King is dead. Well, not dead. He's just going to Hollywood. But the King is done. And oh, what a finale. Oh, you had a picture ready to go. Holy shit.
Yep. Yeah, no, yeah, he went out with a wet fart.
Boy, did it. Not only a wet fart, but like literally you and I had predicted this ending basically like a year and a half in where it's like, I bet Tom King writes himself into the story by the end. And he fucking wrote himself in by the end.
Yep.
You see, Matt, there's this football player, and no one believes this genius writer, I mean football player, even though he's the one who can save the team, but everyone thinks the last football player they had, the last quarterback, was better, and they're being very mean and very unfair to this new player who's only trying to do his job and make you happy, and you're all kite man for making fun of him.
I am so glad I'm not the only one who caught that really on the nose, like, analogy. Like it's plainly obvious he was talking about himself and like how we, the critics, are the evil quarterback from the other team, and oh my god.
Well, see, I thought the evil quarterback from the other team, I thought he was talking about Snyder actually, and the people liked the last quarterback more. And I'm like, yeah, we did, because that quarterback, quarterback didn't write himself into his own story to talk about how hard done by he was.
No.
It's weird, too, that he makes Kite Man, like, the voice of all the critics making fun of him and saying he's shit. And I'm like, but I thought you liked Kite Man, though. You devoted so much time to Kite Man, and you made him a meme and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, but Kite Man's still a loser and a clown at the end of the day, so there you go.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we are all Kite Man. Exactly, Jersey Lug. Those are the new signs we need to hold. Forget we are all clowns. We are all Kite Man.
Well, what did you think about, like, Thomas doing all of this for Selena?
Gross.
That was so fucking weird, wasn't it? It was so weird.
That I want my multiversal son and my multiversal adopted daughter to get together because I'm a bit of a creep, and I'm like, that's nothing like the Thomas we knew previously. That's pretty rough. Also, the fact, too, that Batman is like, hey, I don't want to kill myself anymore. I have developed now out of nowhere. And to have Thomas Wayne be like, good for you, son. I, the big brain, am leaving now for no reason. I never actually had a plan. And then it just ends so abruptly. And then again, no one talks to the Psycho Pirate, even though the Psycho Pirate is the reason that everyone is under control. Yeah. And yet they were just able to get everyone back.
Yeah, he's not, like, we don't even see where he goes. Like, I think he's in, like, one panel. And that's it. Like, just completely, like, shipped off, as usual with most of the stuff in this Tom King run. And he doesn't have to explain it.
Because the Psycho Pirate was just a prop at the end of the day, even though he really shouldn't have been a prop, because literally Bane and Thomas Wayne didn't do anything. It was all the Psycho Pirate.
Yeah, oh yeah, and Bane's alive now, apparently. After we clearly saw him get killed.
he's fine. He's got a little bandage around, where he got shot in the head. He doesn't think his name is Rick Bane, though. He just thinks his name is regular Bane.
Well,
so
we don't
fine.
know that yet. That's going to be in the new Tom King Bane book.
That's true. He might also think he's Rick, so that might also be a problem because anyone who gets shot in the head thinks they're Rick. Oh God, it's funny too. Again, Gotham Girl. He also kind of made Gotham Girl a stand-in for the audience
talk
as
about
well.
this. This
Oh yes,
Gotham Girl
where
shit.
I've been talking a lot, Matt. I'll let you take the
Oh my
Gotham Girl
God.
stuff.
Oh, like this whole time we found out that she's like an unstable, psychotic person who will use her powers.
Has tried to kill Batman
like,
at least twice.
Yeah, will use her powers for wrong, like try and kill anyone who stands in her way and everything. So Bruce does like the only sane thing, and that is gives her, was it platinum kryptonite that gives her?
Yes, which he had invented actually in a previous issue. So at least he remembered something he did.
That, gives her all the powers of Superman just cause. Oh no! What was the reason she knows how to fly?
It also cures all of her problems. So the one interesting thing about her that she has godlike powers, but it kills her every time she uses it. That's gone now. She's just fine. Platinum kryptonite band-aided it. But she's also like the one person who's still like really invested in Bruce and Selina getting married and everything. Like, but you worked with Bane to try and break up the marriage, and now you care. And I'm like, oh, because what is it? You're Tom King letting that part of the fan base down easy. So again, characters aren't characters; they only represent your critics, of course.
Yep.
That was my thing. And then he just sends her off, like, there you go, be free, Gotham Girl. Maybe another writer will want to write you. Probably not.
Bro, she died on her way back to her home planet.
Wherever that was. So yeah, that was crazy. The fact that Batman and Catwoman, no, we never needed to get married because we love each other too much.
That's
and I'm like, amazing.
Cop out. That's such a cop out.
Boy, I'm glad I wasn't one of those people holding on to them, hopefully getting married. Because if I was, that's the final insult to you too. Like, no, I was never gonna actually let them get married, or maybe DC was never gonna let them get married because they don't seem to like their characters getting married. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that one wasn't entirely his fault, but yeah, the Tom King Batman series, it ended the way it lived, incomprehensibly, pretentiously, sloppily.
Yeah. We got Tynan starting this week, so it would be pretty good.
We do.
He technically started in issue 85 because he did that Joker part at the end, which is pretty interesting.
It reminds us there where it's like, hey, Joker still actually knows Batman is Bruce. In fact, Wesker the ventriloquist, Psychopirate, and everyone else who was in that room and heard Thomas Wayne talk should also know that Bruce is Batman.
Literally all his villains should know.
Oops. That's unfortunate. And again, I am really shocked they didn't kill Thomas off. Oh, another thing about Thomas out of the blue, after them retconning the fact that it wasn't Dr. Manhattan that saved him from the destruction of his universe, it was Reverse Flash for a stupid reason. They then turn around and have Thomas Wayne say, I destroyed the Flashpoint universe.
Yeah.
No, and how?
Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't destroy anything.
I did it. It was me. I did it.
Jeff Johns says no.
And also, we're just going to lock you up in regular old Arkham now. And I'm like, shouldn't you put him in the same place you put the Batman who laughs for like all of the super dangerous multiversal guys? He claimed to destroy a universe.
Yeah, nah, we'll just have Brain break his back. He'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. And now we hope we'll never have to deal with him again. Man, I imagine the next writer who comes onto this or has to square that circle is going to be a lot like when they had the evil, Grand Hydra Commander, Captain America, who it was clear there was never supposed to be two, but then there ended up being two. And it's like, oh, fuck, we got to kill this guy and quick.
What I thought would have been a really cool story if that, because obviously there's like a Thomas Wayne now, and he for all intents and purposes is the same as the Earth 1 Thomas Wayne. So like,
yeah,
like they could have done an interesting thing where he comes back to life and takes back Wayne Enterprises, and like, oh, you can't do that now because that's basically happening in Tony Stark Iron Man at the moment. That's
true, but man, you're right, Matt. That's a clever story, being like, I didn't die, I just had amnesia. Yep, I'm taking back everything that's mine. That's including the house, Bruce. That's also in my name.
Yeah, take all of Batman's toys away from him.
Man, that would have been a much more interesting story, Matt. I'm cutting you off, son. Then we get hobo Batman living in the streets, and Alfred is like trying to give him tea and shit and cucumber sandwiches while he's in the gutter. And he becomes Hobo Man. He grows like a big sick beard, living in the woods, throwing tin cans at people because he can't afford batarangs anymore. And Superman's like, please let me help you. Let me float you alone. And Batman's like, no, I don't take money from anyone. I'm too proud. You gonna finish that sandwich, though? Batman is very hungry. See, look, we just wrote a way better run, Hobo Batman. But yeah, it's done. Tynion is starting soon. I'm really interested to see how much, if anything, he is going to reference from that previous run. Because Alfred is still dead, which we'll talk about when we talk about Detective Comics. Mm-hmm. And other writers are already dealing with that fallout way better. Also, apparently, Bruce and Selina are still going to be a thing moving into the next story arc.
It's really funny you mention Alfred is still dead because King posted a picture from his Batman Catwoman book and Alfred was in it. So I'm like, so that book's coming out like sometime this year, so you couldn't even like wait a year.
I didn't really die. I faked my death. Or again, too, where it's like, hey, Batman, didn't you also find out that there was a special magic Lazarus pit that was better than all the other Lazarus pits where you can bring someone back to life, no problem, no harm, no foul? Maybe you should have taken him to that.
Nah.
Oops, Batman forgot about.
It's in the desert. It's too far.
That's too far. Batman had a lot of fucking Catwoman to do, and he had to go to the sports bar to get into a sports argument with Kite Man. You see, Tom King could have written something interesting there and called back to an old story, but he also could have talked about himself. And as we've seen in this entire run, Tom King will always take an opportunity to talk about himself.
Oh, of course, yes.
Keep in mind the whole big debate, did we meet on the boat? Did we meet on the street? Yeah, the only reason that was a thing, it had nothing to do with Dr. Manhattan or continuity change or anything. No, that's just an argument that Tom King has with his own wife in real life because they can't actually remember where they had their first date. And he wrote that in a Batman book, and he stretched it out for like 3 years.
And he did it again as well with Thomas Wayne and Catwoman.
That's right.
The Flashpoint Earth.
Because it's so clever.
In their creepy father-daughter, but romantic subplot.
Electra complex, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're done, Matt. We never have to talk about it again.
Oh, thank God.
Until people ask us to talk about the, the next one, the Batman Catwoman book, which, tell you what, I'm not doing it when it comes out. Maybe as a Patreon stretch goal or as a donation stretch goal, Matt and I can like review it together like when it's all done.
Is it a mini, or have they threatened to like make it an ongoing? If it's a mini, I'll probably do it just because I know it'll give my channel great big hits.
It's technically a maxi. I think it's 12 issues.
Yeah, well, I'm fine with doing that if it's on a regular schedule.
You know what the fucked up thing is? Because it's 12 issues and probably because he has a chance to think it out, it'll probably be better than his entire run.
That's the thing. He excels in those short stories. Did you end up reading Superman Up in the Sky?
I still have it. I read the first couple issues of Batman Universe and really enjoyed it. I was starting with that, then I was going to go to Up in the Sky. But yes, thrives in short form.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's your Batman update, everyone. I know people would be upset if we didn't talk about the final issue together. So there you go. We talked about the final issue.
We had a lot of final issues recently, didn't we?
We did. Keeping up with old business, too. And this is a completely, utterly unsubstantiated rumor that all of the comic book sites have been running with. So I felt like I had to talk about it, even though, again, totally unsubstantiated rumor, take with a massive grain of salt. Apparently, Marvel Studios may have already regained control of the Hulk and Namor IPs.
Yeah, well, I feel like if they did that, we'd probably hear about that. Like, they would make a big deal about that.
Yeah, I don't know why they would keep this secret. Because, again, it's not like... We've seen the Hulk before. It's not like you're going to come out on stage at, like, D23 or Comic-Con and be like, the Hulk, we got him. Yeah, you always had him. Same with Namor, where it's like, hey, look, we got that guy who's like Aquaman, but not Aquaman. Because, your average Joe and Jane popcorn, they don't know who the fuck Namor is. That's like something for comic fans. That's something to drop in your Fantastic Four movie, or potentially Black Panther 2, if he needs a villain to fight there. That'd be fun.
People keep saying Black Panther 2, but I don't think he'll be in that. I don't think they'll introduce him in Black Panther 2. Maybe 3, or like, as you said, Fantastic Four makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. Again, I don't think Marvel would be coy if they got the rights back to this. I think they'd be trumpeting and be super stoked about this.
Yeah, and we'd start seeing stuff like the Incredible Hulk and whatnot appear on Disney Plus.
In fact, speaking of unsubstantiated rumors, someone else tweeted me a thing before we started. Apparently, Disney Marvel may already be beginning early process of developing. There you go, developing. I figured it out. Developing new projects involving the Netflix heroes. To which, again, I'm like, I think if they were, they'd be willing to tell us, and the stars would probably be tweeting about those things.
That I'm a bit more like. That I think could happen, but I think maybe they can't say anything because of the way like the Netflix, like those stars might still be under contract, so they can't technically talk about something that will be developed with the same character with a different studio.
True. And again, this is still like a ways off because we're still waiting for the rights clock to tick down for all those Netflix heroes. I hope it's true, but again, until we can point to something more concrete.
Yeah.
Another thing the chat brought up here, and yes, Tevya, I see you. You're just a little slow on the draw, and we're answering your questions as you ask them. I guess in the new DC solicitation, Superboy-Prime is coming back, and he's coming back in the Shazam book of all things.
It makes sense because Jeff Johns wrote that. Jeff Johns kind of brought the character back into like the mainstream with Infinite Crisis. So, yeah.
There you go. Interesting idea for a foe, because again, he is basically a big overgrown child at heart, and here's the Shazam family who are children who become adults.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm like, I think 2 issues behind on Shazam at the moment, but like I've been keeping up with like what's been happening in the book though.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to seeing him come back. And we also had a reference to him recently in that Year of the Villain Hell Arisen book.
See, I haven't read that one yet, but again, if you say there's a reference, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's funny, he's got a real Boba Fett effect, Superboy-Prime. Everyone loves talking about him, and everyone's like, oh, he's so cool, ironically, even though in the, like, story itself, he is like a whiny crybaby and everything. Yeah. I wonder how they'll take him to bring him back, if Johns will own that fact, or if he'll try and make him cool, or what they'll do.
I have a feeling they'll own that, because, again, like Shazam, they're dealing with, like, children who become heroes, and, like, how they can often be immature and all that. So I imagine that kind of, like, automatically feeds into that book.
Also, too, hey, you're super strong and everything, Superboy-Prime, but I'm Shazam, which means I'm magic, and that's one of the few things that can actually hurt you.
Yeah. Although he's got his solar suit on there, so maybe not.
That would be something. I'm interested in it. I'm cool. I hope, if nothing else, it gets more eyes on that Shazam book. I actually put that on my best of the year list, and I said, of all the books I'm talking about, this is the book that's actually probably in the most trouble, because they keep pushing back the releases, and I feel like people just forget it exists.
I was gonna say, like, because I thought like the pushbacks were because of Doomsday Clock, but then after Doomsday Clock finished, they said they pushed back, I think, the most recent issue, which was, I think, the issue before the Superboy-Prime one, got pushed back like 11 weeks or something. Like, something ridiculous.
And they pushed it back 4 weeks before, and they just keep pushing it back. And I'm like, these can't all be Jeff Johns' problems. I feel like you guys are actively trying to bury the book for some reason, especially when you take into account the fact that we're seeing, the King Shazam and all those other Batman Who Laughs books, and he has nothing in common with the Billy that's going on, and they completely ignore everything that's going on in the Shazam book.
Yeah, it's like another completely different character, and that makes it even worse, because like the character he is as King Shazam is just so like baselessly edgy.
It really does feel like DC's almost like trying to subtly kill the book, where it's like, if we keep pushing it back, people will forget about it. We can kill it. We can get Jeff Johns off the book and relaunch it with a new team in time for the movie.
Yeah.
which is the stupidest thing because it's like, did you see that first movie? It was all based on Jeff Johns' work.
Yeah. And then the funny thing is, if they do the second movie, it's still going to be based on Jeff Johns' work.
Yeah, like if you don't let him and keep writing, like what are you even going to adapt later on? You've gone all in on the new 52 DC Rebirth version of the character. It's silly. It's very silly. What else do we got going on here? Again, so hopefully this won't take up the rest of the show, but if it does, that's fine. Matt, I do believe since last we left off, much Star Wars happened.
Much Star Wars happened. Lots of Star Wars, actually.
Lots of stars. Ooh, I read that Kylo Ren #1 from Charles Soule.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was, and pretty well timed too, for the Knights of Ren to be like, yo, Kylo Ren didn't even run these guys originally. They were run by a dude named Ren.
Yeah, who has a lightsaber called the Ren.
Yeah, what are the odds of that? I was trying to put my finger on, like, what does Ren look like? Because he doesn't look like a traditional Star Wars character. He looked like he came from a totally different series. And I'm trying to think, like, what series?
He looks like a hero from, like, One Punch Man.
Yes, he looks very anime. You're right. I'm like, what anime? He looks like a Naruto character. Like, he's got a big, overdeveloped mask, but he has no shirt because he's super ripped and everything. And he's got to show off his muscles and everything.
Yeah.
We also get to see Kylo Ren, like, moments after Luke almost killed him, and we actually get to see the other trainees, which completely torpedoed the theory everyone had, where it's like, oh, well, maybe the other Knights of Ren were the other trainees who left with Kylo Ren. No, they were actually totally an entity and a thing even before Ben Solo went to the dark side.
Yeah, but he knew about them, so that's interesting.
He did. Also, Snoke is a gardener on a prison planet?
Supreme Gardener Snoke.
That's pretty cool. Man, I was really excited to hear more about Snoke, and then we saw his ultimate fate in the movie. I'm like,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Let's talk about Mandalorians first. I just wanted to bring up that comic thing because that was a nice little connection. So, The Mandalorian came to an end. They had their final episode directed by Taika Waititi.
Really, really well directed by Taika Waititi.
Definitely. Again, this one had it all. Big, high-stakes battle, payoff to character arcs, promises for stuff that will be coming season 2, which is actually coming sooner than we all thought.
Yeah, very soon, like in the next couple of months. And was it fall or summer 2020? It was one of them.
Fall.
Yeah.
Which is really early, but then it's also like, well, clearly they knew they had a goddamn hit on their hands if they're already rushing to a fall release.
Yeah, they certainly did have a hit on their hand, because, yeah, apart from, like, one fan service heavy episode, which is episode 5, the whole series as a whole was so damn good.
Boy, was it. And, like, wonderfully small and direct. Yeah. And it's like, look, Star Wars doesn't always need to be this over-the-top thing. Sometimes it can be small and intimate and, like, like, not gritty, but, like, grounded in a weird way.
Yeah, well, like, early on, like, a lot of people were complaining about the length of the episodes because half of them don't even, like, clock in at 40 minutes. But I liked that because it meant they had no fat on them. They told the story they were trying to tell and got the characters to the point for when the next episode happens.
And that's a problem with a lot of streaming television. Again, as much as I loved those Netflix Marvel shows, they were ripe with fat, where it's like, you could cut this down to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Also, the weekly drop of episodes makes sure that, like, hype kept going throughout the whole series and didn't die off after like 2 weeks.
No, to think that this show actually stood in such huge contrast to the bingeable Netflix model for Disney Plus. Like, no, this is premiere television. You watch it every week. It's the center point of your week. You watch it with your friends and family, and then you talk about it for the next week. Like, ooh, what do you think will be happening next? Ooh, who could be showing up next? And it's like, man, this is how we used to watch TV for the bulk of my life, and now we're doing it again, and it feels nice.
It does. It feels nice to be able to, like, watch an episode and then digest that episode in a week and then get into the next episode.
Definitely. We got a lot of payoff in the final episode. We got Jason Sudeikis as one of the bike troopers, and they punched the baby. Don't punch the baby.
Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally both punched the baby.
Don't punch the bear. I'm glad IG fucked you guys up. IG Watiti.
Yeah, he came
We
in and
were.
fucked him up, and then rode with the baby on his chest to like fuck up a bunch of stormtroopers, which is really awesome.
I love that there was like, how are they going to get out of this situation? This is more stormtroopers than we've seen in the whole show, which hilariously, they didn't have enough costumes for all of the stormtroopers, so that was the local 501st that came on
Yeah,
in.
which is really cool. That's so cool.
I I love when they get the fans involved, and because the 501st is for the most part a really wholesome ass organization who always shows up at stuff, and I
Yeah.
love it's almost like a Civil War reenactment, only Star Wars. Like, yeah, hey guys, come on down, bring your own props. But I love that they get so blindsided by the droid, where they're like, yeah, we got all our big Imperial super weapons. We got the drop on them. Nothing can be like, is that an IG droid? Fuck.
What I really loved about this is like you see the movies and like the big threat in the movies like a fucking super laser or a giant like star destroyer that has a Death Star laser on it or something. And it's like here in these final episodes, like their big weapon was just like a turret,
A regular cannon.
like a cannon we've seen in like all the films and everything. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Like these characters, like that's their problem. Like they can't
They
handle
are
that. That's so good.
they are so far from Jedis. They're
Yeah.
very good at what they do, but they're still very human. And if you shoot them, they will die.
Yeah.
And we finally get to see the Mandalorian's face, and we finally get his name.
Yes, Din Djarin, and it's definitely played by Pedro Pascal.
Yep, we actually get to see the helmet off. I mean, he has a great full circle arc with the droid where it's like, all right, droid, you're gonna kill me now, like those droids killed my parents. It's like, no, I've actually redeemed myself. I've actually changed, which is a nice reflection to the Mandalorian himself, who has also changed, but could not see it in himself until he saw it in someone else.
Yeah, like I loved his whole backstory, like mainly IG-11's backstory with like how he got redeemed by the Mandalorian, like how the Mandalorian was redeemed by a Mandalorian, and then Baby Yoda gets kind of redeemed or like saved and rescued by a Mandalorian, like how the Mandalorian was rescued by a Mandalorian.
It's a real ripple effect of the good you do in the universe, which is very Western, very samurai movie, and very fitting for this. It only takes one good action. It's great too that they kind of shoot down a fan idea, but they do it in a funny way, where it's like, oh, you saved this child as you were saved as a foundling. They're your responsibility now. You need to either raise them in the way or take them back to their home planet. And to have it turn around to be like, oh, does that mean we're going to get Mandalorian baby Yoda? Nah, he's too small. He wouldn't survive the trials.
Yeah, he'll die instantly. Yeah, no, they're going to take him back to his home planet and everything. And just speaking of like the Mandalorian's like origin, how we get to see like that part in the Clone Wars. Everyone, including myself, thought that was going to be like a Jedi that saved him. But it was so cool seeing live action Death Watch come in and save him.
Yeah. Which again, cool. David Filoni voiced the leader of Death Watch in the cartoon and helped, David Filoni who created, Jon Favreau who worked on the show too, but Dave Filoni who created the Death Watch for Clone Wars, and then we get to see them here too in live action is pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, it's so damn cool to see all of this like sort of comeback, and then we haven't even talked about like the villains. So Werner
Grand
Herzog,
Moff Gus Springs.
Werner Herzog calls people cowards and gets killed because he's not the villain of this. You learn that the shadowy guy behind him, Moff Gideon, played by Gustavo Fring, Giancarlo Esposito,
with the thinnest, penciliest mustache you've ever seen.
Very Hitler-esque.
That's how you know he's evil. And I love that, like, no, he didn't start off as a Moth. He was, like, Imperial Secret Service back in the day, so that's why he knows, like, everyone's secrets and shit.
Yeah, he knows everything about these guys, which I thought was really cool. I like that he just, like it's very rare that, like, you see, like, a really competent, like, Imperial. Like, you see him every now and then with, like, Thrawn and Tarkin, but to, like, have one here be, like, an actual main threat who's probably going to be in the next season quite all the way through as he hunts down the Mandalorian.
It's true. Really usually it's only the Sith that know what they're doing. It is nice to actually have an Imperial be like, no, I'm good at my job and I can hit things when I shoot.
Yeah, and as the chat keep reminding us, he has somehow gotten the Darksaber.
Which, man, that's a hell of a stinger. That's a hell of a only real fans will know. And like, also, okay, Filoni, you worked on Rebels, which we saw Sabine get it back and, reestablish Mandalore. Obviously, it didn't take because the planet ended up falling. I'm guessing she lost the Darksaber at some point between
Well,
then and now.
yeah.
Please explain.
Well, yeah, she gives it to Bo-Katan, who becomes like the new sort of pre-Vizsla
Mm,
ruler, Mandalore of the planet. So like, I don't think like Bo-Katan isn't a character who would give up the
no,
dark
no, not a
saber,
fight.
like not without a fight or without dying. So like, did this guy like kill her and
Yeah,
take it?
I hope that's an episode. I hope we get a flashback. I hope that gets explained. And I'm sure he wouldn't put it in if he didn't have plans for it.
I would love that because that would mean Katie Stackhoff gets to come in and play Bo-Katan in live action.
Oh, how great would that be, getting her to play herself? Because she could. She can
Yeah,
totally play the part.
yeah.
Uh, oh man, the Forge mother there on Mandalore gets a cool ass shit fight scene as well. Not using any guns, not using any lightsabers, I think, just using like a friggin' big ass hammer to beat the shit out of
Yeah, yeah,
stormtroopers.
it's cool, and I love like the more recent movies have done it, but like when like a character is fighting a stormtrooper in like hand to hand combat, and they like hit them, they like shatter the armor and everything. Like you see the armor's like helmets getting like shattered and everything. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and makes the
Like,
stormtroopers look even worse because they're in like shitty
I know.
plastic armor.
Yeah, it's like, did you make this out of plexiglass? And it's like, well, yeah, they're a big evil empire. They got to spend money on Death Stars and cloning facilities. Of course, they skimped on their armor and weapons.
It's how the scout troopers couldn't hit something that was right in front of them.
That's how. That's the reason. Again, just bad infrastructure. This is why they keep losing all the goddamn wars they start.
Mm.
Why scrappy rebellions and resistances end up being able to beat them time and time again. But yeah, that's great stuff. The promise of being like, okay, now you got to go find Baby Yoda's planet, which has always been shrouded in mystery. Which this means that this is something completely new that the Disney era gets to write for Star Wars.
Yeah, George Lucas, like I don't think he has any idea of like where Yoda and all that came from. He didn't think about that, but like
No.
he kind of made it like a mandate that like that wouldn't be explored. That was just going to be left. So like now Disney and Dave Filoni and John Favreau and all these can come in and craft a story, probably with his help as well, because he went to the set of The Mandalorian, got to see it all and
Mm.
everything. So yeah,
Which is so crazy to think George Lucas, the man who loved money, who gave a backstory to every fucking leaf on every fucking tree branch in the Star Wars universe and made an action figure of it and then re-released that action figure in a special edition, never wrote anything about Yoda's planet.
well, I don't think he personally wrote everything about these. I think a lot of it is from the
No.
expanded universe and that series of writers. But yeah, yeah, it is pretty wild that like a character who's in a lot of his movies,
Yeah.
he never really like bothered to I remember seeing a in the I think it was the Attack of the Clones one where they're doing the CGI Yoda. Like someone asked him what color would Yoda's blood be, and he's like, I don't know, green maybe. I don't know. Like, he never even thought about it.
As the chat brings up, maybe we could see some more of the Bendu. I would like to see more of the Bendu actually in live action. That'd be pretty fucking cool.
That would be pretty cool. Although in saying that, we might get some of that in that Project Luminous that's coming.
All right. DNG mentions too, and he's actually using the point system, which is a new thing they put in to Twitch to highlight your message. He's saying, I really want to see a Star Wars short portray some stormtroopers like henches from Venture Brothers. I agree.
Oh,
I
so
want to see
Tag
the
and Bink.
Yeah, basically, I want to see the Stormtrooper Academy. I want to see how the hell do you get into this line of work, and does it suck as much as I think it does?
Yeah, that's basically what Tag and Bink were. They were like a non-canon bunch of
Yeah.
stormtroopers that would just wander through the galaxy and into the events of the saga and whatnot.
They were like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, where it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, hey, you know what? Comedy, the final frontier for Star Wars. Let's just do a Star Wars show that's just a straight up fucking comedy.
yeah. I'd watch that unless it was that Seth Green Star Wars detours that Disney thankfully cancelled and nuked.
Oh, I forgot about those. But yeah, Mandalorians, sick as hell. Cannot wait for more.
Yeah, this has me really excited as well for like because this was like Disney Plus's big flagship thing. This is like that they had ready go on day one. So like It's got me excited for the other, not just the other Marvel and Star Wars TV shows, but like what other original programming they're doing outside of that. Like they could branch off into other dramas and with these same creators and whatnot. It'd be interesting
True.
to see what they do.
They got on Netflix's level and then some.
Yeah, first try as well.
Which is pretty fucking good because there's, like a lot of ways that this could have gone wrong. So it's refreshing to see them step up. And also, too, the woman who directed a good chunk of these episodes that we really enjoyed, she's going to be helming the Obi-Wan show. So, like, I think I'm excited for the Obi-Wan show now.
Yeah, Deborah Chow, she directed, like, the second last episode and I think 2 or 3 other episodes. A big chunk of the series. But, yeah, she was really damn good at this. So, yeah, it's got me excited for that Obi-Wan show.
I kind of raise an eyebrow there where they're like, oh, we're casting a young Luke in this too. And I'm like, okay, don't, he can be in it, but like, don't fuck it up.
Yeah, as me who's been reading the comics and stories and whatnot makes me like questions like, how are they going to even do this series? Because like everything we know about Obi-Wan's time on Tatooine, we've seen in these comics. You'll just be retreading those stories.
Again, it's like maybe when he got there, I don't know. There's places they could go with it, but I don't. The thing that would really bug me to be like, oh, and Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan and young Luke had side adventures before they ever had their big adventure. No. He knew of him. He was that weird guy who lived in the dunes, but they never knew about Ben Kenobi and the life he had before until A New Hope.
Yeah, I don't think they were doing that, and like on the other side of that, I hope they don't do like what there was like a novel series in the Legends where like Obi-Wan like left Tatooine for huge swatches of time to go and like fight Boba Fett and like Inquisitors across the galaxy. I'm like, no, that defeats the purpose of hiding.
That's a little much. Again, I liked the comic story. I know exactly the one you're talking about, where it's basically Gran Torino, but in the Star Wars universe. Like he's just trying to live a quiet life, Obi-Wan Kenobi, away from everyone else. But Jabba's water gangsters keep wanting to tax the area, and they just push them too far, man.
Yep. That's what it needs to be.
That is what it needs to be. And it's like, there needs to be the extra layer of like, look, Luke can't know I'm here is the thing until it's time. So I have to, hide myself super hard.
Well, I like the part in that story that we were just talking about. Like he saves Luke and everything because Luke crashes his skyhopper or something. And Owen comes and sees Ben and I think kind of like beats him up a little bit and tells him to like stay away from Luke. He doesn't want anything to do with him and his father's shitty religion or anything, so just leave him alone. Just stuff like that.
You weird old man, which that's fine by me. Yeah, let's give Uncle Owen a little more to do.
Yeah, let's bring Joel Edgerton back because he's been a really great actor lately.
Yeah, I agree. All Joels need more work. More work for Joel's. But that's Mandalorian. Mandalorian was great. You don't need us to tell you about it, how great it is, because you've probably seen it, because it's been like the hottest goddamn thing. Yeah,
it brought Star Wars back to its roots in that like Western samurai, man with no name, lone wolf and cub stuff. Very, very much so. But that wasn't the only Star Wars thing that happened while we were away, Matt. And it actually took me a long time to get to this next Star Wars thing because, I was so busy with the holiday and everything. But Rise of Skywalker came out. It did. It came out. It came out, and I got to see it. And, any review I would give is completely, dwarfed by the one you gave on Twitter, and that is that Werner Herzog should have been in the editing bay saying, don't be cowards. Why are you being cowards? That's the thing. They were being, I wouldn't say they were being cowards. It's more the fact that like this movie is just like it's clearly cut from a larger film. Clearly, it feels like it was written by a committee. It feels like they had to tick all the boxes so Reddit wouldn't be mad at it. To where I'm like, guys, Reddit was going to be mad at you regardless. I don't know if you know this, but hating Star Wars has become a very profitable cottage industry. Some people completely base their entire online personas around hating Star Wars. You should have just done what you wanted. But all right, you made
a pretty fun popcorn muncher that only really falls apart when I stop and think about it.
Yeah, I will preface this, as you said, as popcorn muncher. I enjoyed all the action. It looks fantastic. The movie never slows down, which is both a positive and a negative.
It's a blessing and a curse. It keeps moving, which means you don't have time to stop and examine the mechanics of the whole thing, but that also means you lose any quiet, reflective moments. And there's a few times where we almost get some quiet, reflective moments, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I'd like to see more of this. Nope, gotta move on now.
Yeah, the Emperor shooting lightning into the air and shit. And yeah, this movie could have done by, like, not coming out this December and coming out in May of this year. Like, use that.
I would have liked
I think that was the actual thing. Like, I think this movie had, like, quite a few months less production than The Last Jedi.
It did, which is shocking.
Quite a few.
I'm like, why would you do that? Again, there's, like, stuff even coming out now. Apparently, like, Palpatine, again, spoiler everyone, it was in the fucking trailer. Palpatine wasn't supposed to be the final boss bad guy. Apparently they had a completely different villain in mind, but it was Abrams who really wanted to bring Palpatine into it.
He wanted to bring Palpatine into it. Cool, you got to explain it. You just don't leave that up to the text crawl. You don't leave it up to the text crawl that just says Palpatine's alive, and then give him that message that everyone in the movie heard and always talks about to Fortnite. And then
we don't get to hear it.
No, we heard it. It's in Fortnite. That's the only place it was available.
Are you fucking joking me?
No, because like, there was some big world exclusive, like, clip or something, and I saw that it was being live streamed, so I'm like, oh, I'll give it a look. And was this after I saw the film? I think it was after I saw the film, or just before. I went to it, and they did, like, some big thing with J.J. Abrams, and they showed the clip, and then there was, like, some Emperor speech. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I saw the film, and I'm like, wait a minute, that clip, that speech, that's the speech that they're referencing in the film. Why was that not in the film? Why was that not released? What are they doing?
So Palpatine is behind it all, and has been behind it all from the very beginning. Snoke is a clone, which on one hand I'm like, fuck off, but then on the other hand I'm like, man, Palpatine's just loving his clones. Even all these years later, the clones keep coming back.
I did like that part where you see Kylo go to Exegol, and he goes down, and you hear Palpatine, like, do all the voices that were inside Kylo's head. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm like, look, you
need to explain it a little bit more. You need to explain it a little bit more. You didn't explain it, and that's the whole thing with this film. They didn't explain anything.
No, and it's like, here's the thing. I like the Emperor, and I really like that they got the original actor back in the role. That's pretty fucking sick that he's the thing that ties this all together. And he's having so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Dark forces claimed unnatural. How are you alive? Don't think about it. Not only am I alive, but I have been leading a secret dark side cult this whole time that no one ever caught wind of. I also have an entire stadium full of followers, and I've built a bunch of new but also old Star Destroyers that I'm calling the Final Order. I'm like, okay, cool name to try and tie it all together.
I thought that name was pretty cheesy, though. Like, you might as well just said Execute Order 67.
It basically is. It's also, like, it kind of it bugs me too. Again, my biggest problems with this movie are like, not even stylistically. Stylistically, it looks good. There's some good quotes. There's some good cameos. It's the thematicness that really takes a hit. Like, you and I loved Last Jedi so much because it was so deeply thematic. This one kind of throws a lot of those themes out the window. Not even, like, throws everything out from Last Jedi, but just the ideas get a lot less interesting, where it's like, oh, how do we defeat the First Order, these Imperial space Nazi cosplayers? How do we defeat them? Well, it turns out they weren't the real threat because Space Hitler was alive all along.
That's the thing. Like, they should have done something in the film where, like, okay, there's, like, this bigger threat, and this threat is, like, threatening both the Resistance and the First Order. So, like, the First Order has to, like, reluctantly team with the Resistance. And that's where I thought for a hot minute, I thought it was going to go with Hux and everything. Like, Hux was going to, like, pull over, like, some people to the Resistance. And then he's just, like, fucking killed.
Yeah, I really thought they were going that way. Yeah, Hux is kind of funny, too, where it's like, I literally
love Hux. I love him.
same too. Like we had the moment of like, oh, there's a mole in the Resistance. Then it's like, oh, it's Hux. Yeah, of course, because he's literally the only one it could be at this point. Oh, he's mad at Kylo because he never like promoted him and because he keeps like bitch slapping him and everything. I guess that makes sense. Oh, but he's still bad though. He hasn't really undergone much of a change. He just doesn't want Kylo to win.
That's kind of in line with his character. That's through the films and the books as well. He's just like a guy who just tries to get ahead as any way he can, and which is like, how he became like a general.
It's true, but then it's also like, but dude, if he loses, you're gonna legit lose. He's literally the only thing you have going for you.
Yeah.
You planned badly, but yeah. Again, it's like where else do we go with this one? I guess after the big thematic thing that bugged me too. After The Last Jedi had this really great thesis statement of like, oh, the Force belongs to everyone, and your family shouldn't define you, and probably the same four families shouldn't be able to control the trajectory of this Star Wars universe. We should probably distribute the Force powers to everyone and stop letting. Sith being reborn in the Jedi and stop letting Skywalkers be so important. This movie comes along and says, nah, noble bloodlines, right of kings, actually, sorry.
Yeah, I really hated the Rey Palpatine thing. I much preferred her just being a nobody, and it'd be the reverse of what Luke was, whereas Luke started off as a nobody farmhand guy, who then, once they wrote the second film, they decided to go with the twist that Darth Vader was his father and make him a Skywalker and whatnot. And then he carried on and became like part of this family, whereas they could have done the opposite with Rey, where it's teased that she could possibly be that, but then it's revealed that she's not. She's just a no one who's just strong in the Force.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been something? Wouldn't that have been kind of cool?
Yeah, but no, it had to tie it in with Palpatine, which brings up a heap of different questions, but like questions that I kind of already know the answer to because I've read the legends. All this stuff about him having kids is legend stuff. So yeah,
do explain how Palpatine fucks. Do explain how Palpatine
no,
impregnated
I don't have the
a woman
diagrams ready. I don't have the diagrams.
That's the real thing, that Palpatine fucks everyone.
Yeah.
He totally fucks.
Yeah, puffy monster face and all. You think
they also never
do it with a hood on or off?
I mean, naturally hood on, because no hood, no love. Also, too, we got to mention this at some point as well. They never explain in the movie if it's his son or his daughter.
It's his son.
Okay.
I think they make him like a reference to the daughter of Skywalker, which is Leia, had Ren, right. And the son of a Palpatine had a daughter.
Right. Which, let's talk about this too. So Palpatine's big evil plan is the same plan he's always had, and that is build a big fucking laser to blow up a planet, even though that literally hasn't worked.
He's not very creative. He lost all the creative people when the Empire died, so he's just gonna make do.
Clearly. Third time's the charm. This will be the laser that works. Third time's the charm. Which is so weird because then
there's more lasers than one, so yeah.
It's eventually will hit everything. But then, when Rey and Kylo show up, then it's like, oh, yeah, your healing powers that work together, a force ability not seen in generations. And I'm like, why do I feel like this should have been your plan from the start, to want to be young again and be more powerful?
I don't think he realized, because Kylo realized that what was the word? They're a dyad in the Force, which is when they're together, they're both
cool idea
they're both
that gets
strong.
No time to.
And it came across as like Palpatine didn't realize that. I'm like, really? You didn't realize that?
Feels like he should know that.
Yeah, you've been like manipulating these people for like the better part of like 2 or 3 years.
You feel like you should be on. You know what? I bet that was the plan originally, where it's like, no, well, he wants to be young again. But then, it got script doctored to death, and they're like, no, they need another reason to go there. That's bad for, Rey and Kylo, but we need to make something bad for the Resistance and everything else. So put another big laser on it.
Yeah. We need something for the Resistance and Finn and Poe and all that to do.
Also, too, I'm fine with the invention of new Force powers. Again, the Force astral projection and everything else I never had a problem with, even though the internet shit its collective pants over when they did. How do we feel about shared Force bringing items places now where before you couldn't?
I don't know. I guess they could explain it like like, oh, this is like tied into that world between worlds that Rebels did, and this is like them like passing something through the world between worlds to each other or
it
something.
is it also only them who can do it because again
Yeah.
they're a weird like once in a generation force convergence or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter now because fucking Ben Solo's dead, so.
Oops. You know what? That is something I will actually give credit to because I don't want to seem like I'm just shitting over the whole movie because it's just not nearly as interesting or compelling as Last Jedi was. I do actually like Ben Solo's arc. I actually think that ended up in a good place, all things considered. I would say his arc
Yeah.
is one of the few that actually makes sense.
I like it as well. I think it's great. I am happy that he died. I know a lot of people weren't, but like, you got to realize it's the same thing with like Vader. Like this guy was like an evil genocidal maniac. He killed thousands, millions, billions
Killed
of
his
people.
own father.
Killed his own father. Technically, kind of killed his own mother as well.
Yeah.
And kind of killed his uncle as well. Killed all his family basically.
Only in death can he find something close to redemption.
Yeah, you can't like bring this guy back to the Republic and say, "Hey, this guy used to be Kylo Ren, but he's good now. He wears white robes. He's good."
He's our friend now, and also, he's weirdly attractive is the thing. So here you go.
Yeah,
We'll give him a pass.
so I'm happy that the thing that I like when I was watching it that I really hated was that we never really got a lot of Ben Solo. What we got of him at the end of the film when he's going to Exegol was brilliant. I loved it.
It was that he's using a blaster like his father's. He even does the Han Solo stance thing.
Yeah, he uses his family's lightsaber in the end. Like all that stuff was great. He like Adam Driver as well. Like did really great job of like differentiating between Kylo and Ben and how they move and how they act and everything. I'm like, I want to see more Ben Solo. I want to see more, but no, he died.
That's a lot of this movie too. That's interesting. I would like more of that. Another thing, a character who I think is actually quite underserved in this is poor Finn, despite the fact that, this series, in a weird way, kind of started with him, and yet he kind of gets very little to do. Again, they brush up against an interesting idea. He meets more people like him, more former First Order stormtroopers who broke their bond because they say they felt the Force, to where I'm like, okay, does that mean that the Force had a bigger cosmic plan for them? Or is that implying that they themselves are Force sensitive and could potentially be the next generation of Jedi?
That's the thing. The whole thing through the film, Finn is trying to tell Rey something, and everyone seems to assume that it was like him trying to profess his love to her, but it's very obvious. But it's very obvious that he's Force sensitive because he senses her death, senses like the ship that they need to attack that has the.
He says, "I have a feeling."
He has all the hallmarks of someone who has latent Force abilities. I'm like, where was this in like the last two films?
And again, well, because he picks up the lightsaber in the first one and he has a little fight, and again. Yeah. Because J.J. Abrams' mystery box for Force Awakens, where it's like, oh, Rey could be the Jedi, he could be the Jedi. You don't know who the Jedi of the movie is going to be. By the end, you do, but
yeah, it's like, and again, it always feels like his arc and Poe's arc as well. It felt like there was huge swatches, like either that cut out before filming or cut out during filming during editing. So like the stuff with like the where he meets Jaina, who turns out to be like as apparently Lando's daughter.
They seek to imply, I'm like, you didn't need that at the very end.
That line as well is like really creepy because it could be taken in a way that's like, oh, he's his daughter, or it's like, oh, is this old man hitting on this 20-year-old?
Yeah, really, which it's like, well, it's Lando, so yeah, naturally. It's like, hey, we're going to find out who your father is because I really want to know for the next couple minutes.
But yeah, like his story, like feels like there was a lot more there with like him finding people that would just like him, and maybe, and it felt like they should have done something where it's like he and Jaina are able to like convince other First Order people to turn in that big fight at the end.
That would have been cool. Yeah, they can have that scene from The Dictator where it's like, don't give up your hearts to brutes, fight for freedom.
He has like that Captain America Winter Soldier speech. It was like, I bet I'm not the only one.
Yeah, because there's a circle they do not square. The
Yeah.
fact that the First Order stormtroopers are all brainwashed child soldiers,
Yeah, they even make a line in this where it's like, oh, we'll have to like fill our ranks, like we'll begin like hunting children down.
kidnapping more children.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that too with the First Order, where it's like, all right, neo space Nazis, space Hitler is back, but some of the space Nazis are like, I'm not really that big a space Nazi. I'm really here because I felt more economic pressure than anything. So I'm like not cool with this, and I'm like, that's a weird fucking place to take this. You would think neo space Nazis would be totally on board for space Hitler to be back.
That's why I think there was like scenes or a cut of this film where half the First Order end up joining the Resistance or joining in fighting the Sith Empire.
It felt like there was something going there, and then I'm like, well, that would feel bad too, where it's like, and see, the only way we were able to defeat space Hitler was because the space neo-Nazis are on our side, but they started the war. It's not like the North and South ever got together in the Civil War to fight the East or something. These are irreconcilable differences here. But yeah, there's Lando gets a great scene. That whole scene during like Squid People Mardi Gras, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I that was about as much as you could really do with Lando.
Yeah, he showed up. He said some cool shit. He quoted some lines.
Yeah, he left the movie to go into his comic tie-in and then come back with the fleet.
Him and Chewie get to hang out in the Millennium Falcon one more time, and they get the Han moment of showing up at the last moment.
I felt really bad for Chewie in this film because, like,
I know,
like he gets to see like all these people he's like been friends with just like die. Like like Leia obviously dies in this film, and like that scene. He's the last one. That scene where he learns that Leia dies is just heartbreaking.
It's really well done.
Juno Suotomo, the guy who plays him, did a really good job of that scene.
He did. He freaking owned it. That was amazing physical acting. And I saw the movie with someone else, and they're like, man, Chewie didn't freak out that bad when Han died. I'm like, well, yeah, of course he freaks out more now. He's the last one now of the original New Hope crew.
Yeah, which is really depressing. And it's even more depressing that like we had two of these three films had all of the original actors in it, and they never not once like got together for a scene, not once.
Yeah,
there's a missed opportunity.
Bit of a missed opportunity. Yeah, which I think that will be the legacy of Rise of Skywalker. Missed opportunities is what this was.
Again, it comes down to planning. None of this had planning. Very obviously.
And it really shows. And, like, obviously, as I've said time and time again, loved me some Last Jedi. I thought it was the most interesting and engrossing Star Wars had been in a long time. Rian Johnson made it thematic in a way that they hadn't been in a very long time. Yeah, okay, maybe he fucked up some minor minutia things here and there. But again, when I'm enjoying the movie and I'm feeling intellectually stimulated, that's all I really care about. I'm not going to say that Rise of Skywalker throws out everything from Last Jedi, but boy, does it downplay a lot of stuff, almost to the point where you could jump right from Force Awakens to this and miss very little in the middle.
There's literally a scene where Rey throws her lightsaber away and Luke catches it, telling her not to like don't treat a Jedi weapon like that. And obviously that's not, it's like a lot of people are pointing that as like, oh, look, see what JJ did? He like threw shade at like Ryan. That's not what it is, but that's what it comes off as.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of comes off like the fact that Rose gets so heavily downplayed when you really did expect there was going to be a moment in the end where she's like, oh, I researched the ships and now I'm ready to help in the final moment. Doesn't happen.
I fucking hated that they sidelined her to give fucking Mary or Pippin or whatever that fucking hobbit's name.
Dominic Monaghan, who him and JJ are tight because of Lost.
Give him more time. And then I like Greg Grunberg as Snap Wexley mainly because I read the Poe Dameron comic and he's big.
Oh shit, he died in this, didn't they? They killed off heroes.
Yeah, they killed him off. He gets more in this, and both those characters could have just been excised and given all that dialogue to Rose.
And it would have been fine, and it would have actually been a little bit more even. And it's like, look, I get it. She's a mechanic. She can't come out on all the missions with them. But it also, you know what it does? You kind of have this problem too you fall into where it's very clear the new cast is supposed to fill the old roles. Rey ends up becoming the Skywalker. We get a Han Solo out of this. Finn doesn't end up really factoring in because he kind of shares the Han Solo
He's like the new
role.
Chewbacca, maybe.
Ooh. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because they're a team and they need to do it. I didn't think
Yeah,
about that. You're right. Which means we don't really have a Leia, which Rose could have been the Leia, but she could also have been the Lando, maybe. And it's
yeah,
this is the problem of like trying to make your new trilogy fit into an old trilogy, where it's like, well, not every character is going to match up 100%.
yeah. It's very very strange how they've like structured these films where like yeah characters like Rose who are like a big part of that second film
Yeah.
barely in this barely like couple of scenes.
Yeah. Let's talk about some new characters too. Not all that many, really. We got Babu Frick, the black
Yes,
market droid modder. He's a lot of fun.
he's a lot of fun. I like that he's a practical model.
I like that he's a silly Henson puppet, totally like something you would see in the original trilogy.
Yep.
We get what is it? The old flame girlfriend in a cool Power Ranger helmet. I liked her a
Yeah,
lot.
J.J. Abrams' friend Kerry Russell comes in for a day to film.
Is that who that was?
Yeah,
Doesn't show her face. That seriously, that character whose
we
name
see like
escapes.
this much.
Yeah, her name escapes me, but she might as well have a sign on me that says, like, hey, enjoy my further adventures in the next novel, comic book, or video game, because why would they give me such a cool, unique look if I wasn't coming back in something?
That's the thing. Or it's the Boba Fett effect, or the Captain Phasma effect.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, like her, she just like kept talking. Like the way she talks was like all of these lines that are like, and to follow this pickup, this novel
Issue
featuring
number
Poe. Yeah,
644.
yeah. Follow this story and this
Zorus Bliss says the
that
chat.
was
Thank you.
that was like half the lines of this film. It's like, and if you want to learn more about this, make sure to pick up next week's Star Wars issue 1 or something.
Again, where it's like, do you want to see spin-offs? Do you want to see more of this character? Which again, Last Jedi did not feel like that. It felt like a full movie, not like a multimedia project.
Yeah.
Again, too, to bring it back to other things, I think it's hilarious that the Emperor gets defeated basically in the same way that Mace Windu fucked up his face, where it's just like,
He doesn't learn. He doesn't learn.
nope.
Although in this it was more. They made it look like it was more of like Rey using the Force to like force push it back into him or something. But like still like, just stop your lightning. Is that like a thing? It's like you can use lightning, but you can't ever stop it.
It's like pissing mad. It's like once you start a good solid stream, you can't cut your stream off halfway. It's just impossible. I can't cut my lightning stream off. It was fun actually to see Rey use the Force lightning by accident. There, it's like, ooh, her Palpatinian heritage. Ooh, she might turn bad by the end of this. I didn't think she.
I like
would,
that she can just use it. Like this isn't the first time she's gotten angry either, and
Yeah.
and she just used it. Like, where was this in like the last two films? Like, this is clear that you didn't
Might have been
you weren't building towards this.
No, because again, Ryan Johnson probably had no idea she was a Palpatine, and J.J.
No,
Abrams
no.
probably only made up his mind here because J.J. Abrams always only makes up his mind at the end. See Smoke Monster.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it all just felt like last minute, like ideas basically. It's like, we'll bring Palpatine
fact-
back. How? Don't know. We'll explain it in a Fortnite game.
Yeah, dark Sith magic science. Sure, let's go with that. Which again, too, it's like, this is stupid. And then I'm like, well, he actually came back in the comic in a clone body. I'm like, yeah, that was stupid too. Just because I remember it doesn't mean it was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the space knife that had the map on it. Yeah, that was another thing.
Yeah, like,
And that it looks like the perfect piece of Death Star wreckage. Yeah, I didn't think about that either, DNG. You're right.
Well,
I could understand the map, like he was in the cave and he was bored, so he scribbled a map on it. But how was the knife also perfectly like the Death Star
I'd have
wreckage?
again, Lando references he came to Pisana to look with Luke to look for the knife, and that's where Ochi's ship and everything were. And again, that's reference to like probably a comic or a book or something. Again, more references to that sort of shit. But like, yeah, I'd have to imagine that knife was carved after the Death Star crashed. It would have to have been.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the time frame.
It's still really strange that like, yeah, she just finds the knife and then she goes to the exact place you meant to hold the knife, and that could have all been done. It's like, oh, I'm going to keep this knife because something in the Force is like willing me to this spot or something. I don't know.
Well, she did have like a forced vision when she touched it, because we find out later that was the knife that was used to kill her parents. So, you know, I'll forgive that.
Yeah, and they go to, it's not Endor, it's a moon of Endor.
Moon of Endor.
And
but we still get the get the little fucking teddy bear guys at the end, though.
Yeah, so we get to see the Death Star wreckage, which looks really cool. Get a fight between it, and then Kylo Ren sees Harrison Ford on his day off from crashing planes.
Oh, was he fucking... I love he did not get dressed up. He did not shave. His shirt is half tucked in. I'm like, man, you drove a dump truck full of money up to his house. He's like, you got 15 minutes. I'm doing one take.
Which is really funny, because I really liked that scene. That was like one of the few moments the movie slowed down for a minute.
It's the only time the movie slows down and actually gives us an interpersonal moment there. And it's like, you know, you could have given this to anyone. I guess it's good you gave it to Kylo, because it actually means he gets one of the better arcs over everyone. Can we talk about this too? Have you seen Frozen 2, Matt? I know this seems like a very weird diversion.
I haven't, no.
Okay, so this will seem like a weird diversion, but please follow me on this one, everyone. There is a moment here in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker where Rey, foregoing all the good advice of her friends, takes a skimmer and, you know, goes through, like, the dangerous water to get to, you know, the wreckage of the Death Star, because, you know, the truth about her family and the truth about her lineage is there, and she needs to find it. You know, that's where her answer is. Mm-hmm. They do the exact same thing in Frozen 2. Like, the exact same thing.
Really?
Yes, where Elsa has to cross the water to an old ruin to, you know, find, like, the secret about herself and her family heritage and everything. And I just couldn't fucking believe it, where I'm like, these are both Disney movies, probably developed around the same time, given how long it takes animation to be done and how long it takes, you know, a movie like this to come together. And I'm like, did like some cleanup writer just really have a boner for, like, and then the heroine has to cross a big body of water?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I felt like writing Jenny Nicholson. That's like, look, I know you don't know me and that you probably have no time for me, but, like, so here's a crazy thing that I figure only you would appreciate.
Oh, jeez.
The actual fight Rey and Kylo have there on the water, that's the best fight scene of the movie. I think we can agree.
Yeah, I really enjoy. Well, that's the only lightsaber fight of the movie, or apart from like that weird one where they fight from the Kylo Ren's apartment to that planet they go to get Babu Frink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird that these movies have had like Last Jedi had no lightsaber battles in it whatsoever.
Until the very end.
No lightsaber actually crossed each other in that film.
That's right. The Praetorian Guards didn't have lightsabers.
Yeah, and this is apart from The Force Awakens, only one fight in that as well. So it's like two fights across these two films.
I guess that shows a bit of restraint, which again, I guess they still had we don't want to be the prequels and we don't want to cheapen lightsaber fights by doing it every 10 seconds.
That's true, yeah. You got to respect them for that.
Again, you know, it's like you got to give props to them. Again, I would have liked if they had planned more out. Do I think this is the worst Star Wars movie ever? No, not by a long shot.
No, it suffers from this whole plot thing. This whole plot thing of like the plot being laid out and then cut up, and then things that need to be told not being told. I think even like the editor, for whatever reason, people are interviewing the editor of the film, which never happens. And she said like, no, yeah, there's like, we had like these scenes that kind of explain stuff, but we took it out because it like slowed everything down. I'm like, so that's what you need in this film. You need this is the last film.
Again, I don't know what movie you think you're making, but you're making Star Wars here. They already sold out all the tickets after the first trailer. People are gonna come and see it and watch. You could literally put anything on the screen.
Yeah, and that's how it's almost at $1 billion, which I love. Is like pissing lots of people off. I love it.
Of course, where it's like, come on, it's Star Wars. What did you think it was going to do? Also, too, as the chat brings up, yeah, we forgot to talk about the Knights of Ren because they're barely in this.
Yeah, after all this like talk that we're gonna see the Knights of Ren, we see pictures and everything. Yeah, they're like in like one scene they captured Chewbacca, and then Kylo Ren kills half of them.
Yeah,
No
lines of no lines of dialogue. They show up, look intimidating, and leave. Again, to borrow a wrestling term, they got jobbed out to Kylo Ren. They got built up only to get jobbed out.
Which I'm glad he was the one to be able to kill them. He was their leader.
Same.
It kind of makes sense that he would be able to kill his own people. Like, yeah.
The fact that they say nothing during that is kind of funny too. It's like, hey man, come on, man. I thought we were cool, man. Is this over a girl? I bet this is over a girl, isn't it? And it was.
Yeah, well, before we talk about the ending, the one scene I really want to see, I want to see him do more with, but I'm hesitant because of like the horrors of CGI, and that's like the very brief scene we get to see of like a flashback of Luke and Leia training.
Yeah.
CGI in that looked fucking fantastic.
It did, didn't it? Where it's like, are they gonna make a whole movie like this one day? Because I'd watch it.
I didn't say they should make a whole movie. I said, what did I say when I saw that? I said they should make like a Disney Plus like 10-minute like short films.
Short.
Like 10,
That's cool,
10
yeah.
like 4 or 5 10-minute short ones, just so it keeps the budget down. You know, you can just push them all out and just explain like a little bit of the backstory.
It was really impressive. Also, kind of another thing, like a difference between how Rian Johnson sees it and how J.J. Abrams sees it, where like Rian Johnson was like, yeah, well, of course, Leia, knows some Force power. I mean, it's in her family, it's in her lineage. But, she chose to be a general and everything and a politician because that was more important and that was the place where she was needed. In this movie, J.J. was like, no, she totally trained with lightsabers, bro, and it was sick as fuck.
She made her own.
She made her own lightsaber, and I'm like, but that's also cool, though, and it gives us the moment at the end, though. I want to be mad, but...
It gives us that really cool moment at the end, but, like, what I thought was really flimsy was, like, how Rey got that other lightsaber where, like Luke in an ADR line, while she's on Ahch-To says, like, I think there's something my sister would like you to have, and then just in that hut behind a wall, there's, like, the lightsaber. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then where's Luke's second lightsaber,
Yeah, the green one. Yeah, what happened to that?
The really cool
again,
one that no one ever mentions. Yeah,
there'll be a comic or a video game talking about that. I will say too, Luke lifting up the X-wing out of the water like he did in the swamps a day. That's pretty fucking cool too, and a cool callback.
Yeah, that was. But that's all it was. Again, fan service.
Again, this movie probably has more fan service than Force Awakens has, which is funny because a lot of people complain that movie was basically just a fan film. This one is like filled to bursting with fan service and references. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, it's just full of it, absolutely, and to a detriment in a way.
A little bit. Where again, Last Jedi I liked so much because it very much, kind of treaded its own course and did its own thing. It's like, maybe we can remake and recontextualize what Star Wars means for a new audience and we don't have to keep living in the past. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And that was also the theme of the movie. That's another thing that kind of gets lost here, where Force Awakens and especially Last Jedi, on a thematic level, were all about like, oh, is this new generation ready to accept the burden of the Star Wars, which again is Disney's own meta way of being like, oh, are we ready to accept the burden of the Star Wars? The meta reading is completely gone here, and they just do a Star Wars story, which I'm like, but the first two movies were all about meta readings, and now you've gotten rid of the meta reading completely.
It's probably marked something off in Disney's books.
I'm sure they're like, well, you tried to make 2 meta movies, and apparently no one got it, so
Yeah, as like the final Skywalker saga film, it's pretty disappointing as an ending. They shouldn't have gotten J.J. Abrams to do it because he's shit at endings.
He really is. Where it's like, guys, have you not seen the man's portfolio?
Or at least as I said at the start of this movie didn't have as long a production cycle as the other ones. They should have just given it an extra 6 months.
Yeah, they really should. This one needed some more time in the oven. That's not to say it's a complete disaster. Again, there's stuff to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
I will probably enjoy putting it on later. But again, It's no Last Jedi, and it's even no Force Awakens, because even that's arguably more consistent.
Yeah, and again, like obviously because it's the hot thing to do now, people are calling for this film to get an extended cut, and I don't want to say that we should get it because then it falls into that whole fucking Snyder cut
Fan
bullshit.
entitlement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it kind of like I don't think we will get one because
No.
it again breaks the canon. The whole canon is like again, which one is canon? And then you got fans that say, well, this one is, but then this one is, and it breaks all of that.
How do you feel at the very end with Rey taking up the Skywalker? I like that she goes back to Tatooine. I like that she goes back to the Owens farm, and I
Again,
think
more
again
fan service.
more fan service. And again, it's like, am I an idiot for liking the fan service? Am I like a
I know,
tasteless
right?
asshole?
I know. Yeah, yeah.
The movie makes me question my own taste and like even the shit I liked about it. And it's like, okay, that's cool. And then the lady asks her, "What's your name?" Which of course has been a big thing for Rey since the very beginning. And it's like, oh, what name is she gonna take? Hilariously, I thought they were gonna keep a thing from Last Jedi, and that is like, look, let the Skywalker bloodline die, become something new, become something different. I thought she was gonna say my name is Rey Owen or something. I thought that's what she was gonna do.
I thought she was just gonna
but
say
no.
just Rey.
I thought that too, where it's like, look, I don't need to be anyone. I just need to be myself. Wouldn't that have been a nice message? But again, we got to do fan service. So again, I'm Rey Skywalker. I'm like, all right, fine.
Well, when I heard that, I kind of chuckled to myself because I remember way back, like I think when we talked about The Last Jedi, I mentioned something about how like the Skywalker name will become like the new name for the Jedi, like that's what people will
Right.
call them, and that's
If you are a good Force user.
and that's essentially what Rey does.
Little bit. Everyone can be a Skywalker. Every new Jedi can take that name.
Like, I really wish she didn't do that, but like at the same time, like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Like she was a Palpatine, so like she took the name of the family her grandfather absolutely loathed and hated as much as anyone can, and she took it as a sort of like a fuck you to him.
That is cool. The bit with the two sons, again, total fan service, but also
That
like,
shot was
okay,
so
we have.
fucking weird. Why was BB-8 there?
I
BB-8
don't
isn't
know,
her
because
droid, it's Pose.
Why
Why wasn't
come full
R2 there?
circle now.
R2 should be in there because he's barely in these fucking films.
As one of the only surviving droids, yeah, agreed. He should have come full circle too. Well,
Yeah.
no one cares about droids, Matt. That's the subtext of this movie as well. Droids are second-class citizens, and
Yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah, we'll just mind wipe them and
Uh,
not give a shit about them.
that needs to be the next trilogy of films. The Droid Uprising. When will it happen? When will the droids finally say no more, ruled by their Dark Master C-3PO? Oh, you all deserve to die now. Fuck you all. Robo rights now.
I'd pay to see that.
See, that's what gets all of humanity together. Like, look, we may have been First Order, we may have been Resistance, but we can all agree, fuck them droids.
Yeah, that's like fuck Palpatine. That's not what brings them together. All the droids are resisting. That's what brings them all together.
Droids demanding rights, and that's when they all come together. It's like, maybe we're not so different, you and I. Yes, humanity first. And the aliens are like, that includes us too. Okay, bipedal humanity first. But yeah, so that was Rise of Skywalker. Not the worst, but not the ending I wanted either.
No, so it doesn't feel like an ending though. It feels like
No,
a
and it's not. That's the
like
other
an
thing.
8.9,
Yeah.
like
And
in terms of where it should have been.
Totally, and it never will be the ending too, because again, do you not think Disney's not going to keep making new Star Wars? They might have like built it as like, oh, the end of the trilogy, the end of the No, they're not. We're going to get a new Star Wars movie every year, guys.
Well,
it's going to be like
I think it's like this the end of the Skywalker saga. I don't think we're gonna like we'll probably get like other films where like Rey might appear, but like in terms of Skywalker saga, I think this is it. Which is sad because this is the final film. It's like,
I know.
What a
It's kinda
film to
like,
go
meh.
out on.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh. All right. Yeah, okay. Like again, I'm sure in the coming weeks and months, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, this character should get a spin-off. This character should get a spin-off." I would like to see a Finn spin-off where he goes around trying to free all the children, because again, it feels like they really left that open-ended.
I would too, but considering John Boyega's like recent comments, I don't think that's gonna be
Yeah,
happening.
man, that dude burned his bridge in expert style, did he not?
Oscar Isaac kind of did as well, which makes me like
He
really
did.
weird because like this film, he had like a lot to do with this film. It's like
He
was he
did.
just like not happy with it, or like
Yeah.
I liked everything he did in this film. It was great.
Also, too, what was with the change? Because like early on, the narrative seemed to be like, "Ooh, they were so happy that J.J. Abrams is back. They liked him so much from the first movie, yada yada yada." And now at the end of it, they're just kind of like, "Meh, fuck Star Wars." Maybe the fans did it to them, Matt. Maybe we're the reason they hate working on Star Wars.
There could be a number of
It's
reasons why
true.
this happened. Like this could be like the film they weren't shown originally, or like
Mm.
weren't told, like they knew all the cuts were coming or something. I don't know.
They were promised something else. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. It's a hell of a thing, but yeah. So that's Star Wars, everyone, and I guess that's basically our show, man. I think we've talked for like a full.
Yeah.
We
Hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked for a full show. We were going to talk about what we read this week, but again, I think that's a full show. That's all the old business. Next week we'll come back and we'll talk about new business.
Yes, I'm sure there'll be some new stuff coming out in the next week.
Yeah,
Well, I
we got a
think
new Batman we're going to talk
what's
about.
coming out. Next week, the last two episodes of Crisis of Infinite Earths begins.
Oh shit, yeah, we got that. We got a new Batman. It'll be a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good stuff. So, yeah, if you're one of the 20 people who joined us live over on Twitch, again, that's Sunday, starting at about 10 Eastern Standard Time, give or take. Be sure to join us in the future if you can. It's always a lot of fun. We always like to take questions from the chat and everyone and let you guys be involved in the conversation. I guess I'll just about do it for me and Matt here. Again, thanks for joining us. Thank you for putting up with our 2 weeks off and everything. We promise we'll only do it once a year.
Maybe.
Maybe again, maybe we gotta recharge our batteries. But yeah, thank you everyone. We had a lot of fun. We'll be back again next week for sure. Same time, same place. If you're watching this on YouTube on Wednesday at 8, be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, comment, smash bells, smash whatever. Do the engagement thing that makes YouTube work.
Yeah, that gives us the little green ticks next to everything.
Yeah, that's all I know. Just do the thing that makes YouTube work. I can't do it myself. If I would, I could. So yeah, that'll about do it for us, everyone. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.